So next we start with the gymnosperms. So gymnosperms, if we talk about, they are phanerogames without ovary. Phanerogames means seeded plant, or they have a visible reproductive structure. So obvious, these are the phanerogames, which are a seeded plant. These have a seed but without ovary. So they have naked ovule, and this naked ovule form seed, but ovary wall is absent, so fruit are absent. Fruit are not found in case of this one. Now next, the body, plant body is differentiated into root, stem and leaf. Now when plant body is differentiated into true root, stem and leaf, then if we talk about a root, then in case of gymnosperm, taproot system is found. Which system? Taproot system is found. And in this taproot system is found, and when we talk about another type of root, they have a corolloid root. Now this corolloid root are the apogeotropic root, means negatively geotropic root, and this negatively or apogeotropic root are found in case of cycas. Okay, so first type of root which are found, that are the corolloid root. Second, when we talk about the root association in case of pinus, this pinus show mycorrhizal association, and mycorrhiza is nothing but a symbiotic association of fungus with the root of higher plant. So root, they can be corolloid root or they can have a mycorrhizal association. Next, if we talk about the stem, then stem can be branched or unbranched. Stem can be branched or unbranched. Now branched stem is found in case of pinus and cedrus. In case of pinus and cedrus, whereas unbranched stem is found in case of cycas. So cycas have a branched stem, whereas pinus have a branched stem. Then we talk about leaf characteristic of this gymnosperm. So leaf can be simple or compound. Simple means leaflet are absent, and compound means in this leaflet are present. Now in compound also, pinnately compound leaf are found, and this pinnately compound leaf persist for few years in cycas. Okay, is this pinnately compound and found in cycas. Now pinnately compound means when this is the main axis or primary axis, and if incision or cut develop in the leaf, suppose this is a normal leaf, and if incision develop in this normal leaf and that incision reach to this midrib and leaflet get arranged over this midrib, then this is known as pinnately compound leaf, and this type of leaves are found in case of cycas. Leaf also show xerophytic adaptation. And in xerophytic adaptation are number 1, needle shaped leaves. Second, thick cuticle. And third, sunken stomata. So these are the xerophytic adaptation, and xerophytic adaptation are those adaptation which prevent transpiration. So all these three have a role to prevent, they carry out a particular function to prevent transpiration. They prevent transpiration. Transpiration is a loss of water in the form of vapor. So that does not occur in case of these three characteristics. This gymnosperm are succulent xerophyte. Now succulent xerophyte means they are the xerophyte which have water holding capacity. Means they are a xerophyte, yes they are a dry plant, but they can have a capacity to hold or remain watery. Okay. Next, during reproduction a pollination occur, which is a transfer of a pollen grain from this anther to the stigma. This pollination is direct and anemophilous. Anemophilous means through wind. Okay. Direct means here there is a no completely differentiated stigma, so pollen grain directly reach to the ovule. So because of this we call is a direct. Then we talk about a life cycle, but before studying life cycle we should talk about the sporophyte and gametophyte. So when we talk about sporophyte and gametophyte, in case of gymnosperm, sporophyte is the dominant phase, whereas this gametophyte is dependent phase. So this gametophyte is dependent on the sporophyte, okay, and this is a dominant or independent phase. Independent free living phase. Okay, so this is the thing which is found in case of the general characteristic of the this gymnosperm. Now we are going to talk about the life cycle of the gymnosperm. So next we talk about a life cycle of gymnosperms. Now we talk about a life cycle of gymnosperm. Now when we talk about a life cycle of gymnosperm, we have just studied that in case of gymnosperm dominant phase is sporophyte. So we write first sporophyte here because sporophyte is dominant. Now we know that sporophyte has a capacity to produce a spore, means they should have a spore mother cell for the production of spore. So This sporophyte has male cone and female cone. They have a male cone and female cone. Now this cone is the strobilus, and cone is a group of sporophyll. So we can write that this male cone is a group of microsporophyll, and this female cone, it is a group of megasporophyll. Now this is a microsporophyll and this is a megasporophyll. Now when we talk about a microsporophyll, this is nothing but a stamen, but they are not completely differentiated compared to the angiosperm, and megasporophyll is a carpel. Now when we talk about a microsporophyll, this stamen that has microsporangium, and microsporangium are pollen sac where microspore production occur. Now this pollen sac has microspore mother cell. This pollen sac has microspore mother cell, and this microspore mother cell, which is diploid, that undergo meiosis and produce microspore, and after meiosis 4 microspore are produced. Now this microspore are obviously haploid and that are produced from the diploid microspore mother cell. This microspore, or they are also termed as pollen grain. So this microspore or pollen grain has male gamete. They has male gamete. Now when we talk about the megasporophyll, this megasporophyll has megasporangium, and this megasporangium is nothing but a ovule. Now this megasporangium or ovule that has megaspore mother cell, and this megaspore mother cell undergo meiosis to produce megaspore. This undergo meiosis to produce megaspore, and megaspore which is a haploid that form two things, that is a archegonium and endosperm. It form two things. Okay, be remember. So here megaspore mother cell, it undergo meiosis, produce a megaspore. Now this megaspore form two things. One is archegonium, okay, and another thing that is endosperm by mitosis of megaspore. So if megaspore is haploid, archegonium and endospore are also haploid. This archegonium has egg cell. This archegonium has egg cell. And when this egg and male gamete fertilize, when this egg and male gamete fertilize, the fertilization lead to formation of zygote. This zygote undergo mitosis and produce and produce embryo, and this embryo will form sporophyte. Now in this you can see sporophyte is diploid, so male cone become diploid, female cone become diploid, then microsporophyll become diploid, carpel become diploid, microsporangium are diploid, megasporangium are diploid, microspore mother is diploid, megaspore mother cell is diploid. But when meiosis occur, it leads to the haploid structure production, and this haploid structure continues, and egg and male gamete are also haploid. But when fertilization occur, diploid condition is restored. So if we see in this diagram, we can see that the fertilization, after fertilization, diploid state get established, and from meiosis the haploid structure formation occurs. So according to this, you can see there is a red light from right side of this red line, that is a what? A sporophytic generation. It is sporophytic generation, and this part is a gametophytic generation. Now one of the important point that you need to mark, that endosperm formed by mitosis of megaspore and it is formed before fertilization. Fertilization going to occur after this. Before fertilization is forming, so because of this it is a haploid. So I hope you understood the life cycle, how this carried out in case of the gymnosperm. By studying the life cycle of gymnosperm, we come across so many important points regarding the life cycle. So we note down that point one by one. First important thing is that endosperm of gymnosperm, which is haploid, that represent female gametophyte. In case of gymnosperm, single fertilization occur. Single fertilization means it is a fertilization for the formation of zygote, not for endosperm, because endosperm form before the zygote formation. Because of this, endosperm is haploid. Now when we talk about this fertilization, that fertilization can occur in two ways. Okay. There are two ways of fertilization. First is zooidosiphonogyny. Zooidosiphonogyny. Now zooidosiphonogyny means there is a need of water for fertilization, and it occur in case of lower gymnosperm, and with that they develop pollen tube as well. But when we talk about the second type, that is a siphonogamy, then siphonogamy means pollen tube development, and this pollen tube development can occur in case of higher gymnosperm. So higher gymnosperms show this type of siphonogamy. So this is with respect to some of the inferences which we get. One more thing we come across, that is a ovule, and we call it as a megasporangium. So now we should talk about the type or a structure of this ovule. Sorry, not type, a structure of ovule. And if we talk about structure of ovule, this ovule is known as megasporangium. What it is known as? Megasporangium. So structure of ovule, and ovule is known as megasporangium. So if we draw a structure of ovule, it looks something like this. Okay, and below to that it has a funicle. So here this is the micropyle end, and this is chalaza end. But the structure which is present here, it is named as pollen chamber. Next to that, this is integument, and this is nucellus. Okay, this part is represented as funicle, and within this you will find a presence of archegonia, and this archegonia have a egg cell. So these are the archegonia, and this archegonia have egg cell. Okay, now within to that we'll find that there is a one more tissue here, and that we call as a endosperm. We call it as a what? Endosperm. So now if we talk about a pleiadae, we know that this ovule is a part of this structure. So integument are obviously diploid, nucellus is obviously diploid, funicle is also diploid. But when we talk about archegonium and egg cell, they are produced from the megaspore, means archegonium is haploid and egg cell is also haploid. With archegonian egg cell we can find an endosperm, that endosperm is also haploid. Okay, so be remember archegonium, endosperm and egg cell are haploid because they are developed from the megaspore. Okay, so this structure of ovule, but this structure of ovule is known as orthotropous type of ovule, and this is a unitegmic ovule, means single integument is there. So orthotropous type and unitegmate. Be remember, these are the important characteristics with respect to the this gymnosperm, because unitegmic means there is a presence of single integument. Okay, and orthotropous ovule are the ovule in which funicle, micropyle and chalaza are present in a one line. So you can see these all are present in one line, that means that is what? Orthotropous. So now we talk about a classification of gymnosperm. In classification of gymnosperm, we are going to mainly discuss some of the orders, that is the cycadales, gingoials, coniferous and gnatals. So when we start first with the cycadales. In cycadales, we take an example. An example are given as, first is the Zamia pygmea, which is the smallest gymnosperm, and another example is the Cycas, which is also known as Sagopa, and which has a coralloid root. We have studied that this coralloid root are the negative geotropic root which are found in case of Cycas. Now if we go with the detailed study of this Cycas, we come to know that Cycas have a pinnately compound leaf, as we have studied. Cycas are the gymnosperm in which female cone is absent. Be remember, that is absent. They have a largest characteristic, like largest ovule is found in case of Cycas are revoluta, Largest male gamete and largest egg cell or female gamete are also found in case of cycas, and largest male cone is found in case of like cycas cercinalis. And one of the important point that you remember, that female cone is absent. Now if we talk about the cycas, cycas is a dioecious organism. It is a dioecious gymnosperm, means male thallus or male plant and female plant are different. So let's understand how they look by the particular characteristic of some diagrams. So please make this image in your diagram and remember this particular, because it help you to remember some of the points. Okay, this diagram will help you to remember some of the points. So if we see the diagram, this one, you will find this type of characteristic. This is obvious a cycas, but this is a male cone here. So because of this we call it as a male plant. Okay, you can see this stem that it is unbranched. You can see these leaves at they are the what, a specifically pinnately compound leaf. Now same if we draw a female plant, then we come to know that female cone is absent, but the characteristic that is megasporophyll are present. So this type of male and female thallus observed. So female cone is absent and megasporophyll are present. So this is the dioecious, that is a cycas. Now next we talk about a zingoids. In zingoids, one of the known important example is that is ginkgo biloba. Example is ginkgo biloba. This ginkgo biloba is also known as maiden hair tree, and this is also a living fossil. If we draw a diagram of this particular ginkgo biloba, then we come to address that they have a long shoot and dwarf shoot. Okay, as you can see in diagram here, that they have somewhat like this long shoot, and over which this long shoot you will have some of the dwarf shoot structures, and from this part you will find some of the fan shaped leaves. And these are bilobed. We remember these are bilobed. These all leaves are bilobed. So if we talk about this, then you can find some of the seeds here, and you can find a fan shaped leaves. So these are bilobed. They have bilobed fan shaped leaves. They have a dwarf shoot and long shoot. With that, they have some seed, and this seed are orange colored seeds are found in them. And This ginkgo biloba is a dioecious organism. Be remember, it is a dioecious organism. Okay, so these are the some of the characteristics with respect to fan-shaped plant, that is fan-shaped leaves-bearing plant, that is ginkgo biloba, which is a living fossil. Now, after studying ginkgoes, next we come to the talking about a coniferous. So third we are talking about, that is coniferous. Now coniferous is the order which include conifers. In this, which plant are included? Conifers. And these conifers are nothing but a cone-shaped plant or cone-shaped gymnosperm. In this, if we take an example, one of the important example is Pinus. Now, if we go with the characteristic of Pinus, Pinus is a monoecious. This Pinus has a branched stem. They have a branched stem. Then they have a winged pollen grain. Winged pollen grain are found in case of ficus, which help their easy migration. They have a two type of stem, two type of shoot, that is dwarf shoot and long shoot. They have a dwarf shoot and long shoot. They are also known as sulfur shower. Why? That we will understand. And they have a cone shaped morphology, that is known as excurrent morphology. They have excurrent morphology, that is cone shaped. Okay, so if we talk about the Pinus, and if we do a rough diagram of Pinus, we will come to know that Pinus is look like somewhat this, and this have some of the branched stems. Okay, now in this, over the stem they have a long shoot, and over which you will find dwarf shoot like this. Okay, so this is a dwarf shoot. Now over dwarf shoot, needle shaped leaves originate. Okay, same way if you find this here, so they have a long shoot and dwarf shoot, and with long and dwarf shoot they have a needle shaped leaves. They have a needle shaped leaves. Now what happens, this particular leaves, this Pinus have a micro and megasporophyll. This micro and megasporophyll, in this microsporophyll will release a pollen grain. Now the pollen grain of this are winged and they are rich in sulfur. So what happens, yellow cloud is visible over the top of this Pinus tree, which is known as sulfur shower. Why it is known as sulfur shower? Because these are pollen grain, and pollen grain of Pinus are rich in sulfur. So yellow colored cloud become visible at the top of this Pinus, and that is known as sulfur shower mechanism. Next to this, when we have studied the detailed study of this Pinus, we talk about one species of Pinus, that is Pinus gerardiana. Pinus gerardiana. Now this Pinus gerardiana is a species So its seeds are edible after roasting, and the seeds are known as Chilgoja seeds. So Chilgoja seeds are of the Pinus gerardia, and they are edible after roasting. Now, apart from Pinus, some other plant are also found in case of conifers like Taxus. Taxus is known as yew tree, and this yew tree is a plant from which anti-cancerous drug, that is Taxol, is obtained. So Taxol is obtained from this. Next to this, third plant is a Xmas, that is a Christmas, and Christmas tree is also known as Araucaria excelsa. It is also known as Araucaria excelsa. Next to that, fourth example is Juniperus virginiana, and this Juniperus virginiana is a plant from which cedar wood oil is extracted. So be remember, cedar wood oil is obtained from the Juniperus virginiana, and this cedar wood oil is used in permanent slides, and used in permanent slides as a mounting agent for a slide preparation. It is used as a mounting agent. Next example is Metasequoia, and sixth is Sequoia sempervirens. This Sequoia sempervirens is the largest gymnosperm and this Sequoia sempervirens is also known as redwood tree. Okay, so that is all about the particularly examples of the conifers. Now we talk about the advanced gymnosperm group, that is the fourth order, that is Gnatales. So it is a group of advanced gymnosperm. In this, if it is Gnatales are the advanced gymnosperm, they have some characteristic which are similar to the which one angiosperm. So they have a bitegmic ovule. Usually gymnosperm have unitegmic ovule, but it's the last advanced gymnosperm, so they developed a bitegmic ovule. Usually xylem vessel is absent in case of gymnosperm, but in case of xylem, in case of Gnatales, xylem vessel is present. Next to that, Archegonia, which is a female reproductive characteristic that is found in case of gymnosperm, but Archegonia get absent or reduced in case of this Gnatales, and companion cell are present in place of albuminous cell. So if we see some of the examples, then first example is Gnatum. Second example is Ephedra. And Ephedra is a gymnosperm from which drug ephedrine is obtained. From this ephedrine is obtained. And this ephedrine drug is used against respiratory ailments. Okay, third plant which is found in this, that is a welwitschia. This welwitschia is the plant which has only two leaves. This welwitschia is a plant which has only two leaves throughout the lifespan. Okay, so this is with respect to the Binettals, a last order and advanced gymnosperms. Next topic which we are going to discuss, that is a polyembryony. Polyembryony means presence of multiple embryo within seed or within ovule. So this polyembryony is of three types. First, simple polyembryony. So simple polyembryony is the type of embryony in which embryo is formed by fusion of one male gamete and one female gamete, a usual mechanism which occur during this. But if there are number of archegonia, suppose this is the ovule, and in this ovule if there are a number of archegonia inner to the nucellus, this is the nucellus, and inner to nucellus, if suppose there is a 2 archegonia, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 archegonia is there, then it means there is a 7 egg cell. Yes or no? So what will happen? Now if 7 male gamete comes, then each male gamete fuse with here, another with this, like this, 7 embryo will be formed. So what will happen? 7 egg cell are there, with 7 male gamete will fertilize and 7 embryo will be formed. So it is a usual mechanism in which each embryo is formed by fusion of one male gamete and the one female gamete. So it is based on the number of archegonia or number of egg cell. The number of egg cell will be equal to the number of embryo. So it is also termed as potential polyembryony. And if we take an example, then Pinus ovule has 2 to 8 archegonia. Next to that, we talk about the another type of polyembryony, that is cleavage polyembryony or true polyembryony. So next type is cleavage or true polyembryony. So here multiple embryos are formed from single zygote. Multiple embryo formed from single zygote. So in this case what will happen? Suppose this is a ovule, and in that ovule there is a pollen chamber, they have a nucellus, and they have a single archegonia, and they have a single egg cell. So this egg cell will fuse with the male gamete. Yes, when this egg cell fuses with the male gamete, it will form a zygote. Now this zygote will form embryo, and this embryo will undergo cleavage. So multiple embryos will be formed, that is embryo 1, embryo 2, embryo 3, like this. So multiple embryos are formed from the single zygote. Because of this it is known as true polyembryony. And next we are going to talk about a third type of polyembryony, that is adventive embryony. And adventive embryony is the type of embryony in which embryo arise from, in this embryo arise or originate from nucellus or integument. Nucellus and integument. Then this type of ovule are known as this type of embryony will be known as adventive embryony. Now, so this is the type of embryony. Now, next, after studying this much, we find that there is a seed production in case of gymnosperm and angiosperm. Now, one question we usually find with respect to gymnosperm in some of the questions, that seed have how many generation. So last we will deal with this question and then we end this part of gymnosperm. So next question which we are going to deal, that is number of generation present within seed. Now if we talk about a generation which are present within seed, then there are 3 generations present within seed. First generation is represented by testa, tegmen and perisperm. Perisperm is a persistent nucellus. Okay, so it is a testa, tegmen and perisperm, which represent parent sporophyte. Okay, next, second generation is represented by endosperm. An endosperm is haploid, so it represents female gametophyte. And last, the third generation that we will talk, that is represented by plumule, radical, suspensor and cotyledon, and all this represent future sporophyte, as all they are a part of embryo and they are diploid. Okay, so this is the 3 generation which is represented by a seed, that is a parent sporophyte, then female gametophyte and the future sporophyte. So here the all discussion with respect to gymnosperm get over. In next lecture we will start with the angiosperm.